mission in Japan, 13 Sabbath offering projects in South America, and recipes from the Mission 360 kitchen coming up next. Hello and welcome to Mission 360. I'm Gary Krause. Today's program is coming to you from Tokyo, Japan, the most populous urban area in the world. In 2016, it was estimated that there were some 36 million people living in Greater Tokyo. This is the area of Shibuya, which is perhaps the world's busiest crosswalk, and in this area, the world's two busiest railway stations. Well, on today's program, we'll be looking at mission here in Japan and around the world. But first up, let's look at 13 Sabbath offering projects in South America.
On this Sunday morning, Fortunato climbs the hill towards his workshop. Today, he'll teach a class on how to make a leather bag. Fortunato lived many years as a cowboy in rural Peru, but eventually settled down in Cusco to start a family. Perched high above sea level, Cusco is an ancient city, once the historic capital of the Incan Empire. Not far from here, you can find Machu Picchu, a World Heritage Site. People from all over the globe come to visit this marvel. This area on the edge of Cusco is still developing as the city continues to expand. There's limited electricity and no running water in this neighborhood. Many families here find it hard to earn a steady income to improve their quality of life, so Fortunato got an idea. He wanted to equip his neighbors with a new skill, leather crafting. Fortunato's workshop is filled with tools, supplies, and handmade goods, reflecting his many years of experience in leather crafting. He invites everyone from the community to his workshop to learn this skill. Before each lesson, Fortunato shares a short worship thought. He opens the Bible to a passage he thinks God will use to speak to his visitors. Then they continue on the leather crafting lesson. Fortunato teaches his guests how to cut, glue, and sew the leather together to make a beautifully crafted bag. Throughout the class, he connects the lesson to his earlier worship thought. Fortunato believes that Christ's method of ministry is the most effective way to share the gospel with his community. Through his leather crafting ministry, he has planted multiple churches. His latest church plant is called the Loma Linda Church, which roughly translates to the Beautiful Hill Church. It's a fitting name for this location that sits high atop a hill overlooking the city of Cusco. This small congregation meets each Sabbath to dive into Bible lessons. They listen, learn, and ask questions about things they've been studying throughout the week. An important element of the church service is the music. Each week, a small group of musicians performs with traditional instruments, singing in both Spanish and Quechua, a local native language. Fortunato's brother-in-law, Ciriaco, leads the music each Sabbath. He has a ministry of his own. Much like Fortunato, Ciriaco volunteers his time to teach classes, specifically music classes. He offers both children and adult music lessons once a week, working around the people's schedules. Today's class is for children. Ciriaco loves how eager they are to learn and how quickly they grasp concepts. He starts with the basics, but over time, they're able to follow along as they sing or play various instruments. When a group has made some progress, he invites them to come play for the congregation at church. Many who come to perform return week after week to keep hearing the stories about Jesus. This congregation is continuing to grow through Fortunato and Ciriaco's outreach efforts. This quarter, a portion of your 13th Sabbath offering will help build a youth-focused community center in Cusco, Peru. This center will be a place where people can come for a variety of activities that will connect them with Adventist church members. Please pray for church planting in Cusco and throughout South America. Thank you for supporting the mission offering.
My guest today at the Satagaya Church here in Tokyo, Japan is Risa. Thanks for joining us, Risa.
Thank you.
Please tell me, you're a member of this church, but how did you first become a Seventh-day Adventist?
Well, I wasn't really Christian until I was 22 years old. So I went to the US and just to study 3D animation. And I didn't go to any Adventist college, an Adventist high school. But then my cousins they are Adventist, and I didn't know that actually. But then they told me, hey, maybe you can go to the church there. And I was like, okay, But in that time, I didn't really go to the church. But then second time, they also asked me, hey, maybe, you want to go to the church? So I was like, okay, maybe this time, yes. And then I actually found that there's a Filipino church, SDA Filipino church, just behind my house. Oh. And so I didn't know that. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go. And then there are a lot of young people actually. So I got a lot of fun there, and I had really good time there, and also learn Jesus there. And so there's a lady there's a girl, around same age, so yes. I'll just say her girl. So she taught me Bible. So we had a Bible study together. And then she said that she has a friend, Japanese friend here in Setagaya Church. He's now, coming to this church, and he became a leader of this church. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the church. And when I came back to Japan, I started coming to this Setagaya Church. And then, how I became a Christian, when I was in the States, I got baptized before I came here.
Okay. So what difference did it make to your life when you became a Christian?
Well, actually, I had a family problem, especially I have a problem with my dad. And Dad passed away, when I was 14. Wow. 16, sorry, yes. 16. So I really, regret, because I said really bad words to him, and my acting was really bad. So I was really regretting, what I've done to him. But then one day I saw the dream, and I had a dream. Then he just saw me, and he was lying down on the, the floor, and he just saw me.